The sanctity of human life is under assault. Find out how and what you can do about it in this edition of Life Matters with Brian Johnston, Western Regional Director of the National Right to Life Committee. He has served in many capacities while advocating for innocent lives, as California Commissioner on Aging, as Chairman of the California Pro-Life Council, on the board of the National Legal Center for the Medically Dependent and Disabled. And now here's our host, Brian Johnston.
Well, welcome back to Life Matters. We're your program on life, culture, and the very real battle of ideas. And this is a real battle. It's not far away out there somewhere. It's a battle that's directed at your mind and the minds of your loved ones and the minds of individuals everywhere. If you're not prepared for the battle of the mind, it's very easy to be seduced by the thinking of this world that's being pushed upon us daily. Much of this thinking is actually aimed at changing policies, laws that impact human lives, and we spend a lot of time talking about that here at Life Matters. Today I've got a program I think is critically important. I have a very special guest, Dr. Joel Brind. Dr. Brind has done research in the connection between abortion and later breast cancer cases. Now, when I first heard this, to be honest, I thought, well, gosh, that seems like a real reach. You're going to find out that it's a very direct and immediate reach. It's very, very logical and stunning. The fact is, in this battle of ideas, the pro-abortion, pro-choice, far-left media has done its best to suppress the studies, but it's really incontrovertible, this direct relationship between abortions when one is younger and later cases of breast cancer. You know, and there's a bigger issue, too, in this battle of ideas. As I think about the nature of America, when we were kids, there used to be, I thought it was a joke, but they used to talk about the American way, mom and apple pie, and motherhood, that loving your mother and the regard for motherhood was an essential part of what makes America what it is. And I used to think that was corny. I don't anymore. I realize what is being said. Our mothers are incredible. Our mothers do something our fathers can't do. Mothers bring forth life, life itself. They're the beginning, if you will, of the family. And even if there isn't a father present, if a father decides to not assume his responsibilities as a father, that mother still is hardwired to care for her child. This is a very important premise. She is the beginning of a family. And again, it's so much better when the father is involved as well. Now that's a full family. But mothers bring forth life itself. That's something that we men can't do. And as you think about the issues of life and the issue of the right to life, and specifically abortion, it becomes very clear this is part of a war, a cultural war on motherhood. There is a very real battle of ideas, a very real battle and assault on the very nature of motherhood. That motherhood is not that good a thing, that you really don't want to be a mother if you're a young woman. It's terrible. You hear about the phrase unwanted pregnancy. Well, I know that when my wife, we've had 5 kids and we had a miscarriage. But I know in going through pregnancy, Valerie, my wife, she had challenges. And by its very nature, just as with fatherhood, but that's usually on a spiritual level, but with motherhood, there's a physical challenge that nobody really likes, the challenges of pregnancy. That's a condition. So you might say pregnancy isn't that enjoyable. And then when our opponents talk about unwanted pregnancy, they're talking about the condition that's not that much fun. Who wants to carry a giant basketball in front of them and put on 30 pounds? Who wants to have morning sickness? Who wants to have all the physical challenges? So this idea of pregnancy being unwanted equaling let's kill a human being so I don't have to have this condition. Well, those are two very opposite realities. That the condition is one thing and it's a challenge, but that's very different than the human being present. You know, you and I are the product of a terminated pregnancy. When I was born, when you were born, your mother was no longer pregnant. So She terminated the pregnancy with birth. So there's language games being used and attitudinal games being used when it comes to this battle of ideas. When it comes to motherhood, I believe, again, that this is one of the critical elements of this battle. There's an actual concerted effort to attack being a mother, to tell young women, don't be a mother. It's a terrible, terrible thing. When in fact, it's the fulfillment of being a woman. One of the greatest privileges of being a woman. A girl grows up to be a woman, and only a woman can bring life into the world. This is a critically important thing. When you hear Dr. Brind explain the relationship between ending a pregnancy unnaturally through abortion and the implications later, and you realize what a woman really is in the great design of things, you're going to have your eyes opened. I think it's a very powerful message, and it's a message that our opponents want to silence, because abortion is not a good thing. On so many levels, it's not a good thing for that baby. It's not a good thing for young women who actually are now stepping into the world of motherhood, and they're invited to end that. Just end it. That's not a good thing for them, really. And in the long run, it does carry great risks. So we're going to join Dr. Joel Brind. I had a meeting with him at the National Right to Life Convention. He's a brilliant man, and you can find out more by going online, californiaprolife.org. We're going to link to that. Or if you go to the podcast, lifematters.life, and you will find more resources on the abortion breast cancer connection.
I'm back at the National Right to Life Convention. I bumped into an old friend, Dr. Joel Brind. I'm going to let Dr. Brind introduce himself and his background, and then we're going to get to a very important topic you don't hear much about. Dr. Brind, good to see you.
Good to see you. And why don't we just say friends of long standing?
There you are.
We don't need to talk about how old we are, but I've just finished my 31st year as a professor of biology and endocrinology at Baroque College of the City University of New York. So I've been there a while, and I've been doing research on the abortion breast cancer connection since 1992. So we're talking about 25 years of that.
Wow. It goes by quickly. You have made some significant discoveries that really people need to know about, but the abortion industry has tried to silence. So tell us a little bit, because at first people don't get it. They don't understand what happens to a woman's body when she becomes pregnant and why what an abortion does affects her so much.
Right. Well, it's actually quite straightforward. When a woman becomes pregnant, the hormones of the pregnancy, basically estrogen in the presence of progesterone, which is also the mothering hormone, both of them go up very high. And one of the things they do is they make the breast tissue grow, because the breasts, after all, have to be big enough and functionally mature enough to produce lots of milk for the baby once it's born. Mm-hmm. So for about the first 32 weeks, what the breasts do is they just grow. Mm-hmm. Now, growing breast tissue is the kind of tissue that is actually vulnerable to carcinogens, because if you cause mutation in those undifferentiated cells that you find in what they call type 1 and type 2 lobules, which predominate through most of the pregnancy, you have more places that cancers can start until about 32 weeks. Now, if that pregnancy is terminated early by an abortion or even a very premature delivery before 32 weeks, a woman is left with more places where cancers can start, and her breast cancer risk goes up. But if the pregnancy is complete, or it goes beyond 32 weeks, mostly complete, then her permanent risk of breast cancer is reduced, because she has now gotten terminal differentiation to lobules, which are now capable of producing milk. And like other tissues, once they become terminally differentiated to do their final function, they are much less vulnerable to carcinogens because they're no longer capable of growing. Yes. And a cancer is not a cancer if it can't grow and overgrow. A cell that is rendered abnormal by some carcinogen, but it can't grow, well, it can't form a cancer.
Excellent distinction. Very important point. And now studies have borne this out.
Oh, they've borne it out for, I hate to say it, but it's now 60 years since the first study was published, and I mean a major study in a major journal, the Japanese Journal of Cancer Research, a nationwide study on cancer in Japan studying thousands of women, showed that women who had abortions were almost 3 times more likely to get breast cancer than women who did not. And that was published in 1957. Now, several colleagues of mine and I published a study in 1996, which was a comprehensive review and meta-analysis where we put together the results of all of the studies that were extant at the time. And that was about 23 studies. And most of them showed increased risk, studies from all around the world. That was 1996. So people who like abortion, which is mainly mainstream science and medicine, are not interested in acknowledging anything that shows abortion not to be safe. Abortion is supposed to be safe. So that was pretty much squashed with really a series of fraudulent studies in the 1990s. And of course, if I'm right, and my colleagues are right, that abortion really is a risk factor for breast cancer, well then you would think that there would be a real worldwide epidemic extending especially into Asia due to the increase of abortion. You have the one-child policy in 1980 in China. You have lots and lots of abortions extending to South Asia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. So you would expect there to be lots and lots of breast cancer. Well, it turns out that not only was there another systematic review and meta-analysis showing a 50% increase in breast cancer in 36 different studies from mainland China, mostly in the first decade and a half of this century. But there have also been many studies showing an increased risk of breast cancer in South Asia. So, for example, in South Asia now, in the last 10 years alone, there have been 20 studies from all over South Asia showing a substantial increase in risk. And that's what my colleagues and I at the Breast Cancer Prevention Institute are now putting together. We'll be submitting it shortly. A review of these 20 studies which shows that the risk of breast cancer goes up by 150% on average in South Asia. Now, why do they go up so much more? Well, the actual number of breast cancers is about the same. But breast cancer is very low in South Asia to start with. Why? Because in South Asia, the traditional woman gets married as a teenager, starts having kids right away, has a lot of them, breastfeeds all of them, doesn't smoke, doesn't drink. There's really not much else that's going to give her breast cancer besides abortion.
Wow.
So it shows up, and we're showing that in the study that we're putting together now. It really is unmistakable. It stands out particularly clearly in South Asia because of the absence of other risk factors for breast cancer in most women.
We're talking to Dr. Joel Brind. You're listening to Life Matters, your program on life, culture, and the very real battle of ideas. We'll be right back with Dr. Brind right after this.
You're listening to Life Matters.
Well, hi. I just wanted to thank you for joining me. You know, I have good friends, children, young adults, and adults that have Down syndrome. And they are so loved. Their parents love them so much because they're the happiest people you'd ever want to know. I really love them. I'm going to tell you something, though, that's rather frightening. The government of France has now prohibited showing positive images of Down syndrome children and letting parents know how lovable they are. That's an actual law in France. Here in the U.S., 80-some-odd% of Down syndrome kids are killed by abortion before they're born. In France, it's 96%. So we're not a whole lot better. If you'd like to help out, you can go to the National Down Syndrome Society, ndss.org, to help out. That's ndss.org. We really are in a battle of ideas, and lives really are at stake.
And now back to more Life Matters with Brian Johnston.
Well, welcome back to Life Matters. We're at the National Right to Life Convention. I'm talking with an old friend, Dr. Joel Brind. We were just talking about the abortion-breast cancer connection. And many people have questioned me about that, but science is clear. And so I'd like Dr. Brind to once again explain that connection about how a woman's body is developing, but how an abortion dramatically interrupts that development, and why that leads to the likelihood of cancer later in life.
Right, so when a woman gets pregnant, during most of that pregnancy, the breasts are in the business of growing, just growing bigger, and only in about the last 8 weeks of a full-term pregnancy do they actually turn into milk-producing organs. So all the while that they're growing, the kind of tissue that is capable of growing and capable of responding to carcinogens, of developing tumors, is growing also. So as the pregnancy proceeds, there are more and more and more places where cancers can start. And that translates into a higher risk of future breast cancer if that pregnancy is terminated any time before 32 weeks. Once you have 32 weeks, most of a full-term pregnancy, then the effect of the pregnancy is a permanent lowering of long-term breast cancer risk, because her lobules, those actual parts of the breast that actually make the milk, become mature and they become capable of making milk. So their ability to grow and hence to turn into cancerous tumors is turned off. So full-term pregnancy is known, there's no debate about this, increases protection, decreases a woman's long-term risk of getting breast cancer, whereas having a pregnancy that is terminated not only prevents the protective effect of having that full-term pregnancy, but it makes things worse because a woman has now multiplied the places where breast cancer can form, and now she has a higher risk of breast cancer if she has one or more abortions. And that's become even more clear now with all of the data that's coming in from South Asia that we're reviewing now, that we've actually completed our review on and will publish sometime soon, which shows about a 2.5-fold increase in breast cancer risk in women from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, because the typical woman there gets married in her teens, starts having kids right away, has a lot of them, breastfeeds all of them, doesn't smoke, doesn't drink. So outside of abortion, there's not much else to give a woman breast cancer. So it really stands out as a strong link. And overall, it's very clear. You have one abortion, your risk goes up. You have 2 or more abortions, your risk goes up more and more. So the statistical connection is really very clearly reflective of a causal connection, because we know about the breast lobule development and what multiplies the number of places where cancers can start. So full-term pregnancy, good. No pregnancy, not good, or it puts you in a higher risk category, but a little bit of pregnancy is a lot worse than no pregnancy at all, or a pregnancy that goes full-term. So a pregnancy should not be interrupted by abortion. Not good.
This is such important information, and I know if you're listening, many of our listeners call in, they want more information. And Dr. Brind has a website where you can get these studies and you can get more information. What is that website?
Oh, yes. We have lots of information at www.bcpinstitute.org, bcpinstitute.org. BCP is not for birth control pills. It's for Breast Cancer Prevention Institute, bcpinstitute.org.
Very important. If you know someone who is interested in this, please refer them to bcpinstitute.org, Breast Cancer Prevention Institute.org. We're going to come back in a little bit. We're going to have Dr. Brind back, though, another time, and he's got some very interesting studies that he has done on glycine, and we're very excited about that. So come back in a moment to Life Matters.
If you have questions or comments for Life Matters, call 800-924-2490. Give us your name and the town you're calling from and a quick question or comment. Life Matters continues after this.
Hi, I'm Kevin Sorbo, and I was very excited when I heard about LifeFest Film Festival. LifeFest is the film festival dedicated to showcasing films that affirm the intrinsic worth of innocent human life and the profound significance of each life. One seemingly insignificant person can in fact change the whole world in which he or she lives. That one singular life ends up being of vital importance. I'm so glad to hear that you are cherishing that in this film festival and are committed to artfully and creatively protect the lives of those who can't possibly promote themselves.
Life Film Fest is dedicated to bring the message of life to Hollywood and to our culture. Go to lifefilmfest.com and get your tickets now. That's lifefilmfest.com.
Find out about the exciting cultural change impacting Hollywood. Go to lifefilmfest.com. And now back to more Life Matters with Brian Johnston.
Welcome back to Life Matters. Again, your program on life, culture, and the battle of ideas. It's a very real battle. It's not going away, even if you ignore it. It's a battle that's on you right now. It's for your mind as well as the minds of your loved ones and the people you know. Make sure that they're equipped for this battle. I want to remind you that we're sponsored in California by the California Pro-Life Council and Right to Life Federation. We're the federation of pro-life individuals and groups in California, and we're the state affiliate of the National Right to Life Committee. Anywhere in the nation that you go, if you're hearing this on podcast or on some other radio show, we're on 7 stations right now in California. But if you're hearing this someplace else, go to nrlc.org, nrlc.org, and you can find out about the National Right to Life Committee, and then also about your state affiliate, because there's a state affiliate in each and every state dedicated to this battle of ideas, this battle for life and protecting the lives of those that cannot protect themselves. Again, an idea that really was best iterated at the foundation of this nation when our founder said that the right to life is the first premise on which a government should be built, that the job of government is to protect lives, that the government didn't give you your life. God gave you your life. We hold that to be a self-evident truth. It's now government's job to protect innocent lives, and it's an important premise for our culture. Again, our program is on life, culture, and the battle of ideas. So we want to invite you to get involved in this battle and be a wise warrior, understanding what is truth, being able to explain and to give an answer, being able to help those who've been taken captive in the battle of the mind. They've been taken captive by the wrong ideas, and we want to help you to unwind those bad ideas and help show them the self-evident truth of human lives needing protection and that we should protect the vulnerable. California Pro-Life Council has many outreach possibilities. If you go to californiaprolife.org, that's californiaprolife.org, you can find about so many different aspects. We follow the laws that are proposed in California. We give you the record of your legislators, how they vote on these ideas. That's what laws are, ideas. Some of them are very bad. We also have speakers, or if you would like to be a pro-life speaker, it's a place you can sign up. We have speakers that can come to your church, your Bible study, your local community group. We have fair booths every summer at the various county and local fairs. We have films and resources and literature on the life issues that will help you and help folks that you know understand better what this battle is about. If you'd like to send us a letter, a snail mail letter, to ask more, or if you'd like to support what California Pro-Life does, you can send that to P.O. Box 935, Sacramento, California, 95812. That's California Pro-Life Council, or just California Pro-Life, P.O. Box 935, Sacramento, 95812. We appreciate your support. It's what keeps us on the air and keeps us educating and equipping others for this very important battle of ideas. There's other programs that we also sponsor. We have a film festival every year. While we're responsible for California, there is that one little community of California that seems to impact not just the whole state and not just the whole country, but the whole world. And that's Hollywood and the world of the motion pictures. We know it's a very important tool of communications. So Life Fest Film Festival is held the first weekend of May every year in Hollywood, but you can go online to lifefilmfest.com and find out more and be a supportive member of Life Fest, one of the important film festivals that's actually changing our culture and bringing forth the idea that every life is significant, even the seemingly insignificant life. And that's actually a theme in many Hollywood movies, whether you know it or not, that one individual is significant. Even though they're disregarded, they end up changing the entire world in which they live. And that's something you can do too in real life. So thank you for joining with us here on Life Matters, and again, supporting the California Pro-Life Council. If you're in the state, please go to californiaprolife.org. You can pledge there. You can support us. We need your support to keep this program going. And you can call 800-924-2490, 924-2490 to get more information. Thanks a lot. Keep standing for life.
Wordsworth is that part of our show that looks at the real meaning and significance of the words we use, and the words often used by others to hide deeper meanings.
This is Brind testifying before the California State Senate regarding Planned Parenthood's request for special pro-choice license plates.
Currently in the state of California, it's a government-sponsored industry, and these folks are here to get more government money. We have several problems with this bill, particularly the use of language that specifically is intellectually dishonest. We know that calling this reproductive is, in fact, a code word for human abortion, and there's nothing reproductive in the act of human abortion. It kills a unique human being, scientifically, objectively, a unique human being with a beating heart, genetically distinct from the mother, and dependent on the mother for protection and sustenance. If we believe in human rights, it's very much as if someone says they believe in the rights of kangaroos, but they're willing to kill joeys because the joey lives in the pouch of the mother and therefore is disposable. Reproductive rights is a code word for unlimited abortion. If it's about choice, the other choice is letting the child live. But there's no discussion of that in this proposal. In fact, the state of California has given literally millions of dollars for only one definition of that, and that is for the intentional abortion of a unique human being. If the advocates are indeed interested in true choice, that means there's another decision that can and should be made. But as that stands, this is an intellectually dishonest use of language. It is clearly the promotion of abortion, of a government-sponsored industry, and there's young women under incredible pressure by the state funds of California and through these organizations to kill that child. And this is something that we don't need to continue throwing money at. We need to continue affirming life, because that's the basic purpose of having laws, is to defend those that can't defend themselves.
If you have questions or comments for Life Matters, call 800-924-2490.
We had a hard time smogging our older car. It was a pretty nice car and it looked great, but it just wouldn't smog. In the state of California, they won't even let you sell your car unless it first passes smog. If your car isn't passing smog inspection, they start to fine you. We were in a very difficult situation. And then we found out about California Pro-Life Council's car donation program. We went to californiaprolife.org and found out that in their donation program, unlike many others, they actually buff and fix up the car to the greatest degree possible and then auction it off for the most they can reasonably get. It's a great way to get the best value out of your car and help the pro-life cause. We also got a very good tax deduction as a receipt. I encourage you, if you have a car that you'd like to get rid of, or a boat, or a vehicle of any kind, consider donating it to the California Pro-Life Council Car Donation Program. Go to californiaprolife.org. That's californiaprolife.org, car donation. You'll be glad you did.
Learn more about everything in today's show online at lifematters.life, where you'll find all the resources you need to protect life. Life Matters is a production of the California Pro-Life Council, the state affiliate of National Right to Life.